The room froze when Lila Carter declared, "I speak 7 languages." A stunned silence gripped the oak-paneled boardroom of Crestwood Academy, a prestigious private school nestled in the misty hills of Asheville, North Carolina. It was September 2027, and the air carried the crisp edge of early fall. Whispers slithered through the room like a cold draft. A board member in a tailored suit leaned back, barely hiding a smirk. A nervous boy, sitting stiffly beside his impeccably dressed mother, let out a scoff. But it was Headmaster Clarence Whitaker who reacted with venom. "You what?" he snapped, as if the words were a personal insult. Lila stood firm in her worn sneakers, her faded green dress clinging awkwardly in the humid air. Her braids were neatly pinned, her hands clasped tightly, her deep bronze skin catching the faint glow of the chandelier above. "I said," she repeated, voice steady, "I speak 7 languages." A ripple of laughter, sharp and mocking, broke from the corner. "7?" Whitaker echoed, stepping from behind his polished desk, his eyes narrowing as he glanced at Lila's thin admissions folder. "Is this a joke?" "No, sir," Lila replied, unflinching. "And where," he said, his voice dripping with disdain, "does a girl like you learn 7 languages?" Lila's breath caught. She could have lied, spun a tale about a scholar father she never knew. Instead, she squared her shoulders. "My father's the night janitor here. He cleans your halls." A cough, loud and pointed, cut through the room. Someone chuckled. Whitaker snorted. "So, the janitor's daughter is fluent in 7 languages?" He turned to the board, his tone icy. "We're wasting time." Then, to Lila, Crestwood Academy is the finest institution in Asheville. We've educated governors' heirs, tech moguls' children, even ambassadors. You understand that, don't you? "Yes, sir," Lila said. "Then let me be clear," Whitaker continued, his voice low and cutting. "Admitting you would tarnish our legacy. It would be an embarrassment." The room hummed with quiet agreement, nods exchanged like currency. "Why?" Lila asked, her voice soft but piercing. Whitaker's jaw tightened. "Because you're not like us. You don't belong here, and we all see it." Lila's fingers curled. "Because I'm black," she said. "Because I'm poor." He didn't deny it. A board member, Mrs. Langley, murmured, "Really, Clarence?" But he waved her off. She should be grateful we let her through the door. Lila's heart thundered, her knees threatening to give way. But she thought of her father, Marcus Carter, mopping floors at midnight, his calloused hands packing her lunch that morning. She thought of her grandmother's fingers tying her dress's ribbon, and she began to speak. In French, her words flowed like a river. In Mandarin, they danced with precision. In Swahili, they carried the weight of history. Spanish, Arabic, German, and finally English, each syllable deliberate, unshaken. The smirks faded. Eyes widened. The air grew heavy with awe. When she finished, no one laughed. Whitaker's face was stone, his hands fumbling for a handkerchief. "I suppose we might consider," he stammered. Lila cut him off. "I didn't come to beg. I came to learn." The boy who'd scoffed stared at his shoes. The woman who'd coughed looked away. The silence wasn't doubt, Anna Marie, it was shame. Outside, Marcus leaned against the school gate in his faded janitor's uniform, his tired eyes fixed on the entrance. When Lila emerged, he straightened. "How'd it go, sweetheart?" She gave a faint smile, her ribbon catching the breeze. "They said I couldn't. But I did. And they listened." "Yes," she said. "They had to." That evening, in their small apartment near Asheville's train tracks, the scent of collard greens drifted from the neighbor's kitchen. Lila sat at the chipped kitchen table, her backpack still on, while Marcus stirred cornbread batter. His janitor's badge hung crooked on his shirt, his boots leaving faint dust trails. "Eat something," he said. "You barely touched your lunch." "Wasn't hungry," Lila murmured. He set a steaming plate before her, a jar of honey beside it. "Drizzle some of this. Sweetens a bitter day." Lila managed a weak smile, but didn't eat. Marcus sat across from her, his hands rough from years of scrubbing floors. "They hurt you?" he asked. "They tried," she said. "But I made them hear me." His eyes gleamed with pride. "That's my girl." She stirred her food absently. "They laughed, Dad. Said I'd stain their school." His jaw tightened. "People got funny ideas about stains. You're no stain." Lila looked down. "They call me one anyway." Marcus pulled an old pocket knife from his pocket, its blade dulled by time. "This was my father's," he said. "He worked railroads, same as his father." said to carry it, not to cut, but to remember we built things tracks, futures, not stains. Lila traced the knife's handle. Sometimes I wish you were a big-shot professor. Marcus leaned in, his gaze fierce. You got a dad who built you a mind stronger than any lecture hall. Her eyes stung. I want them to see meal the kids who think they can't walk through those gates. Marcus nodded. Then they'll learn today. The call came the next morning. Marcus answered, his voice low. He turned to Lila, eating toast with jam. You start Monday. Her eyes widened. They said yes. Said they couldn't ignore you. She grinned, but the joy faded fast. He won't make it easy. No, Marcus said. But you don't need easy. You need you. Monday roared in like a storm. Crestwood's campus was a vision of ivy-covered stone and manicured lawns, students in crisp blazers gliding through arched walkways. Lila stepped off the bus in second-hand loafers and a thrifted skirt, her backpack heavy with borrowed books. Eyes trailed her. Whispers followed. No one said hello. In homeroom, Mrs. Ellis, the teacher, blinked at her like she was a stray cat. You must be Lila Carter, she said, pausing too long before pointing to a back-row desk. Sit there. As Lila walked down the aisle, the murmurs stung. The janitor's kid. 7 languages? Probably just parroting. The words clung like damp rot. Lila opened her copy of The Great Gatsby and read, but her mind was back in that boardroom, standing tall against a world trying to shrink her. At lunch, she sat alone, her peanut butter sandwich tasteless. Then a girl with curly red hair and freckles plopped down across from her. You really speak 7 languages? She asked. Lila nodded. Yeah. The girl, Nora, shrugged. That's wild. I can barely handle Spanish. Lila cracked a small smile, and for a moment, the weight lifted. That night, Marcus waited up. How was it? Tough, Lila said. You okay? I will be. He grinned. That's my girl. By Wednesday, the whispers had claws. In math, a note slid across her desk with charity case scrawled in ink. She tore it up without reading more. In history, her raised hand went ignored. At lunch, Nora's table was suddenly reserved. Lila ate under a cedar tree, promising herself she wouldn't cry. On Friday, Whitaker summoned her. He stood by his office window, hands clasped behind him. Miss Carter, your presence is disruptive. Lila didn't flinch. I haven't broken any rules. No, but you've upset the order. This school thrives on stability. Does stability mean ignoring me? She asked. His smile was thin. You're clever, but cleverness doesn't mean you fit. Are you threatening to expel me? No, he said smoothly. But don't expect everyone to welcome you. She left, her heart pounding, palms sweaty. The school didn't want her. It never had. Then came the language lab assignment, a paired project on global cultures, requiring a presentation in a native language. Lila's heart leapt finally, a chance to shine. But Mrs. Ellis assigned partners, leaving Lila alone. Choose any country, the teacher said, her tone sharp, as long as your pronunciation is authentic. Lila smiled. I'll do Swahili. The room went quiet. That night, she stayed up past midnight, practicing phrases at the kitchen table, her voice growing stronger with each repetition. Jina langu ni Lila. Nimefurahi kuzungumza nani leo. My name is Lila. I'm happy to speak with you today. The words were her armor. On presentation day, she stood alone, her voice clear, her Swahili flawless. The class fell silent not with mockery, but with awe. A few clapped, then more. Mrs. Ellis didn't join in, but her eyes flickered with reluctant respect. That afternoon, under Asheville's golden September light, Lila realized her voice was louder than Crestwood's walls. And if she kept speaking, they'd have to listen. The story didn't end there. Lila's fight stirred something deeper, more dangerous. A student-led lock-in protest erupted, demanding real change curriculum reform, transparent discipline records, student forums. At midnight, 50 students gathered in the main hall, posters taped to pillars. We deserve more than silence. Lila joined, her voice steady as she read their demands. Whitaker stormed in, flanked by security, his face thunderous. This is trespassing, he barked. Lila stepped forward. We're not breaking anything. We're staying until you hear us. The standoff lasted until dawn, with Vice Principal Ms. Torres staying to mediate. By morning, the protest made local news. The board agreed to a public meeting. Lila spoke, unflinching, her words cutting through years of complacency. Slowly, Crestwood began to shift. A new wing in the Legacy Hall honored forgotten staff janitors, cooks, groundskeepers, including Lila's mother, Clara, whose journal revealed her quiet role in organizing the school's first library. A scholarship in Lila's name was created for working-class students. An exhibit, Under the Stones, unveiled hidden records of black staff from the segregation era, curated by Lila and her allies. By June 2028, Lila stood at Crestwood's final assembly, accepting the headmaster's award for courage and truth. "I wasn't supposed to be here," she told the crowd, "but I stayed because silence is more dangerous than conflict." The applause was deafening. As she left the stage, Marcus hugged her, sunflowers in hand. "You rewrote their story," he whispered. Back home, Lila tucked a note into her mother's journal. "You were right, Mama. I walked with my head high, and others will too." What do you think about Lila's fight? Was she too bold, or not bold enough? Should schools like Crestwood be forced to confront their past, or is tradition worth preserving? How far would you go to make your voice heard? Share your thoughts below, like this story, and subscribe for more stories that challenge the silence.